as we get to part of the weekend. Of course, we're coming at you live on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube channel. Thank you guys a ton for being here. Do me a favor, post in the comments where you're tuning in from tonight. If you have any questions, certainly please post them in the comments as well, and I will do my best to get to everybody. Sometimes we get a lot of questions, and I can't get to them all tonight. But again, if you keep on coming back, we're here every night, Monday through Friday, 9:30, to just kind of sit back and talk about the weather, how it's going to impact you. And if you have any questions, again, just how cool it is, in my opinion, every single day, no matter what's going on. Okay, so the things that we're going to talk about tonight, the heavy rainfall is coming back, especially for South Florida. Now, this is where we need it. There's a big time drought going on in Southeast Florida. So we're going to be taking a look at that with the heavy rain coming back. Some of that could bleed into Central Florida, maybe south of Orlando, but I think over the next few days, the further west you are away from the Atlantic beaches and the further north you are in Florida, the drier you're going to be. Then we're going to check in on the tropics. A new depression is likely. One of the things that I want to show you, Hawaii is going to be under the gun for a tropical system. There's a powerful Category 4 storm out there, Kiko. It's going to weaken significantly by the time it approaches Hawaii, but it's all related, the uptick in tropical activity in the central and eastern Pacific, to what could be coming. It's the same mechanism, that Madden-Julian oscillation. So it goes from west to east. It forces up activity out in that direction first, and then it works its way into the Atlantic basin. So we see this time and time again. And unfortunately, again, it's showing that the uptick that we talked about prior to the season and that looks like is on the table going forward is going to be around the corner for that mid to late September thing. So we're going to really have to do some dodging. All right, first we're going to talk about the Florida side of things. And again, welcome to everybody tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, post in the comments. If you're on News 6 Plus, if you got that push alert on your phone and you tap that, that brings you to a web story describing what this show is. You can post in the comments. There's a chat box there, and I can see those comments. So please post there as well. By the way, before I forget, thanks to our friends at WeatherStem for the live look in St. Augustine above my head and Orlando below me in the Brady Bunch box. Okay, so satellite and radar showing where we do have the extra cloud. So the thick stuff and some rain has now focused into South Florida. That is where I think over the next few days, the heaviest rain is going to focus. So here we stand at 9 o'clock tonight. Couple of downpours hanging off the east coast of Florida. And then we have this junk coming in from the west. This is going to be 2 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. And you see that try to push through. And then this is what I'm talking about. Notice where the heavy rain is, really from Sarasota to Cape Coral to Fort Lauderdale to the Keys to Miami. There's a lot of heavy rain down in that part of the state. Look at that. So waves of rain, no doubt the potential for some flooding, even though we're in a drought. And again, most of this is going to focus on South Florida. So my friends in Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Fort Lauderdale, I think probably south of Port St. Lucie, but we're going to be on the cusp of where that kind of conveyor belt of moisture settles in over the next couple of days. Again, you see that Thursday, 5 o'clock, and then we'll try to dry out. There are a few scattered thunderstorms, again, trying to bubble up with the heating of the day around the central Florida area. But in terms of that steady train or that steady conveyor belt or treadmill of moisture, that is going to stay likely in focus on South Florida. So that's where I want to give you guys that heads up about the heavy rain coming through. Tomorrow, as a result, as you might imagine, with the extra clouds and rainfall around, it's going to be on the cooler side, still warm, but below average, 89 in Miami. That's why we had the blue box there. Vero Beach, we're at 88. Tampa, we're at 90. 88 in Pensacola. We're right where we should be in Orlando, a degree or two above, actually. 92, we have the orange box. We're right where we should. What I meant to say was for Jacksonville, we're at 89 degrees and 93 in Tallahassee. So that's where we are situated for tomorrow, as we still have a couple of downpours on the coast, East Coast, but that train of moisture really going to try to settle in over the next couple of days, really for Thursday and Friday. And you see where the big bright green bullseye is, where it almost turns white. That's situated extreme southwest Florida, through about the Everglades, the Keys, Southeast Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and then over to the Bahamas. So that's where that real steady stream of moisture going to come through. Again, the further south of Orlando you are, the better opportunity you have for that heavy rainfall that looks like it's going to be coming. This kind of tells the story right here. So over the next 7 days, um, this is the amount of rainfall expected, and I don't want you to pay too close attention to the numbers of those. Where we have the red, that's where we can go 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. The purple and extreme Southwest Florida, that's where we can get maybe double digit numbers over the next few days. So that's where I'm concerned with some of the flooding. Orlando, Palm Bay, Melbourne, Kissimmee, St. Cloud, we're kind of still in our normal rainfall pattern. We're going to try to pop some thunderstorms. Um, Port Orange, Daytona Beach. Notice how, again, the rainfall much, much lighter. So while you may hear, you may see that the rainfall is going to increase, at least the chances, I always say that there's more to the story with the rain chances than what you would just open up on your weather app. New 6 weather app, by the way, it is free, and we try to break that down in daily web stories and videos and things like that. But, um, like in Denellen, or Micanopy or Gainesville or Cedar Key or Ocala, I think we're still going to be pretty dry for a good chunk of the next few days. So that's where I think it's kind of important to just kind of dissect or just to read more into it than just like, okay, there's a 60% shot of rain. A lot of times the model's just picking it up. They're not that high resolution, and then that's the number you get on your weather app. That's why it's good to download the free New 6 weather app, because humans actually, we do it. We put the numbers in. Alrighty, guys, I have to get to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the tropics. Of course, there's that big red area out there, and a lot is being made about a westward shift. And that kind of is grinding my gears a little bit. I'll tell you why in 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Welcome. It is Wednesday night. We're here every Monday through Friday, 9:30 on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube page. If you haven't tried out News 6 Plus, I would love for you to download that. While I have you guys here, I'm taking a poll because we like to do these live streams a lot on News 6. When would benefit you? What time, especially in the morning or the early afternoon, that time block where you would like to see some kind of weather live stream forecast, maybe going a little in depth or just kind of impacts and stuff like that. I'd like to know what time that would benefit you guys the most. We're here for you to get more weather information out, some credible weather information, because we know sometimes that is lacking these days. So please post that in the comments for me. That's kind of like an internal just gauge on where you guys are watching and what will be most beneficial to you. So please, if you can, if you will be so kind, please do me a favor and do that. Okay, so we talked about this next system, and of course, it's getting a lot of publicity. It has a big, giant red blob drawn there, and I saw some posts today, um, just making a big deal about a westward shift. Okay, I'm gonna let you in on something here. These things go west when they are typically, it was the opposite with Aaron because the steering pattern was a little different. But when these things are weak for longer, they tend to go further west because they're riding the low level flow. The thunderstorm tops are a little bit lower, so they're guided by more of the low level flow, which is typically out of the north and east, like it is here. When they get stronger, then they're kind of bullied and dictated by the upper level flow because the thunderstorms are stronger, they're taller up, and they get spun around a little bit more. It's okay that it's coming west. I think what it would, I think, to threaten Florida in the southeast corner of the United States, this thing would basically have to stop because there is a gigantic cold front coming down the pipeline. Here's our little bowling ball thing, and I think this is even a little too developed. Now, the Northeast Caribbean, Puerto Rico, going to have to watch it because it could flare up into something quickly by the time it gets to the Northeast Caribbean. And there it is right there in the blue circle. But look at all of this. You guys see that? That blue color? That is a very dry air mass. That is behind a very strong September cold front that would send this thing packing into the North Atlantic. So that's one of the things again that we're going to be watching for. There's no way that it beats out on that dip in the jet stream. So that's going to be something to watch there. So even if it does come further west, for a Florida perspective and Southeast US perspective, it doesn't matter. It's not going to beat that trough. It's not going to do it. And I don't know why there's so many people making a stink about it for the United States. The Caribbean's a little bit of a different story. The Northeast Caribbean, including Puerto Rico, I'm watching that closely for you guys there in the Caribbean. But again, it would have to do something astronomically weird, almost like a Dorian, where it just stalled out and didn't move for like 3 days before to kind of miss its ride out, so to speak. So that's what we have going on there. I want to show you the latest ensembles for that system really quick. And then we're going to get on to the Pacific side. So you see that there are, and I'll take a zoomed in look. There are some members that get it into the Northeast Caribbean. We've talked about that the other day and last week. But then there's most of these kind of get strong, very similar to where Aaron got strong and then gets on out of here. This cold front's even stronger. But boy, for Florida, for the southeast corner of the United States, it looks pretty good. One thing I do want to show you, this is the European ensembles again, and now it's starting to pick up on a little bit of mischief down there. We have some L's popping up, and this is one of the areas that we showed you on Monday or on Tuesday, yesterday. I don't even know what day it is anymore. Tuesday, with the long range projections of something maybe trying to get going, that low end shot from the Climate Prediction Center of something to get going in the time frame. That, by the way, is all the way extended out. This is going to be on September 13th. So something to maybe watch again as I would say the flip likes to switch. The switch is likely to flip. So that is something we are watching there. This is crazy. This is Hurricane Kiko. This is way over in the Eastern Pacific right now. And this guy is going to continue to work its way to the north and west. There's Hawaii. Now, it's really, really hard for a tropical system to hit Hawaii. A lot of times they deflect north or south. But this one is going to have a shot to connect much, much weaker than it is right now. I do want to show you the official forecast from the Hurricane Center. And again, right now it's a Category 4 hurricane. It's a little bite-sized guy. But watch the forecast slowly moving to the west over the next couple of days. There you go. Still by Monday, a hurricane, albeit a much weaker hurricane as it closes in on the Hawaiian Islands. For the rest of the context of this story, though, out in the Pacific, there are a few L's that get close, but they are much weaker. They're basically tropical storm status or maybe even remnant low status. So important to note that, of course, we don't want any heavy rain into the mountainous terrain of Hawaii. So I show you the Pacific side because it tells the story of what is likely coming on the Atlantic side. We also have Hurricane Lorena out there by the Baja Peninsula of Mexico. And we also just have this other janky thunderstorm stuff that's out in the Pacific. This is all being fueled by the Madden-Julian oscillation. It's that convective bubble that goes around the globe every 30 to 60 days and helps to force up thunderstorms or suppress thunderstorms depending upon where it is across the world. Then this looks like a little face. It almost looks like, what's that sloth's name on Ice Age? Oh, somebody help me out if you know it in the comments. But there's an eye right there. There's an eye right there with one hurricane, and then there's like the rest of the face. I just got really distracted on that. But that's kind of the deal there. All of this extra thunderstorm activity, in this case, we have dual hurricanes out there, is a result of things becoming a little more favorable for development because of the MJO. That slides into the Atlantic Basin mid to late September. So again, the thinking holds that we're going to cram hurricane season in to a 4, 5, 6 week window from about the third week of September to the second to third week of October before we can kind of say, Sid, that's what it is. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Doesn't it look like Sid? Maybe you have to use your imagination. I don't know. But it looked like Sid to me because he has those wide, crazy eyes. I don't know. Anyway, there was a method in my madness for showing you what's going on toward Hawaii. It looks pretty in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's going to weaken. Just watching for the heavy rain threat for the islands. Alrighty, guys, I have to get my second break in. Post the comments or questions in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get them answered when we return in 3 minutes. All right, guys, we have a few minutes left for some questions. I did see. I'm glad you guys had a great day at the parks today. We never really lost the humidity. It was all the breeze that how our dew points never dropped below the low 70s. So the humidity never really went away. It was just kind of that northerly breeze helping to play a trick on us. It felt better, but the humidity really never went down. So it's I guess it's back, but it never really went away. Eastern Pacific, we're gonna eventually work our way into phase 7 and 8, and then 1 and 2 of the MJO, and those are the prominent ones for the Atlantic. Once it gets into 7 and 8, that's when you're focused on Gulf stuff, and then 1 and 2 are more of those long track stuff when you see the extra thunderstorm activity off of the coast. No, that, Melissa, not correct, 70%. I only have it at 40% rain chances for the forecast tomorrow. Um, so no, I think it's a little bit lower than 70% for sure. I'm ready for fall weather too, Zach. The heat has been awful for sure. I'm with you. That dip in the jet stream probably makes its way to Georgia, maybe the extreme northwest corner of Florida. Um, It does not come down the Florida Peninsula, and even if it did, we'd have to have it lined up perfectly because the water is so warm right now that it would help to really keep us climate controlled in the warmth. While we have the water's juice like this, um, it's kind of hard to get the cooler air down. That's one of the reasons why we have to wait till October to get a really good one. Although maybe in it might feel a little better with this one, and then maybe in, like, 10, 14 days, um, we could feel a little something. Could feel a little something. Mark is asking, "How long can a front stall for? The rain in South Florida is awful," and it's I don't know if you were with us before, but I'll go back to this when we were talking about the Florida forecast. Unfortunately, that's how it's going to stay, and I'm not even showing let me get back to the off my face so I can show you the weather computer here. And that is what it looks like. I mean, we're talking about another several days of some very, very heavy rain focused from Port St. Lucie to Fort Myers and then south, where you have the red and purple. I mean, you're talking maybe 5 to 6, 7 inches over the next few days. So um, certainly some flooding potential is going to be there. Jody, what are you seeing that says the fall is going to be where you, if you know the source, I'd love to know it. I'm actually working on the winter forecast as we speak, and I'll share that with you whenever we get there. I know the Farmer's Almanac came out all the rage saying that we were going to be cool and wet. Um, I don't know if I agree with that. So, yeah, I'm not buying the cold and wet winter. I'm not done with my research yet. I'm not done with kind of dialing into all of the long range stuff. But man, I don't know. Nope, don't have a cold, just losing my voice, been talking too much. Alrighty, guys. Thank you a ton for being here. I am out of time. Great questions as always. Really appreciate it. Again, we're keeping our eye on the tropics and, of course, especially on South Florida for the rain. But as we move into the next few days, we're just going to be doing a little bit of dodging in Central Florida. All right, we're back up in about 3 minutes on the news side of things. You can keep it right here if you're on News 6 Plus. If you're watching on YouTube, um, it'll be a different thumbnail. It'll be a different section, but you're on the right place. News 6, um, clickorlando.com, just a different little area. A cool and wet winter would mean more rain. I just don't, early indications of my long range forecast would not be consistent with what the Farmer's Almanac says. And the Farmer's Almanac, anyway, is garbage. It's all, it doesn't work. They forecast a blizzard for the Super Bowl when it was in New York. It didn't happen. Okay, I'm not perfect either, but they claim to be like gospel. I don't know. I'll let you know my thoughts whenever I finish that forecast. That should be done maybe the next couple of weeks, but I don't see any reason to believe that it's going to be cool and wet. Early indications of my forecast again would be dry and warm. Then we have to watch a drought again. Hey, Travel Setter, I also saw earlier in the chat that you posted. I didn't know if you were still in the room or not, but I'm sorry for your loss, and I appreciate you being here. Hope you guys are doing okay, all things considered. But sorry for your loss, my friend. And thanks for always being here and for your support. Alrighty, guys, I got to run. Get ready for the 10 o'clock news. I'll see you in about a minute.